Okay, here we go. Welcome once again. This is Glenn, and it is, I think it's Thursday morning. Yeah, I'm not sure of the date. It's somewhere around March the 25th. I'm going to guess the 25th. So, and I'm here chatting with Dave MacLean today. Dave is joining us from Lawrencetown, Nova Scotia, where he is faculty at I still call it Cogs. I guess it is Cogs, right, Dave?
It certainly is, Cogs. Nice
Yeah.
to be here this afternoon for me, Glenn.
This afternoon, right. Yeah, so for
Yeah,
context, it's 8 a.m. my time, and I think it's noon for Dave.
just about noon our time. Yeah,
Good.
yeah.
Yeah. So for listeners who, I'm sure everyone is familiar with Cogs, but want to share a bit, enlighten
Sure,
people? Yeah.
sure. At this time, the Cogs moniker means the Center of Geographic Sciences, and we're located in Lawrencetown, Nova Scotia. We're part of the Nova Scotia Community College system, and we take in students from directly out of high school right through postgraduate, and once in a while we even have a few postdoctorate students. We have a wide variety of geomatics programming, from survey, land survey, marine geomatics. We have 1 and 2 year programs for a variety of geographic sciences, remote sensing, geospatial data analytics, GIS. We have some IT programming in the building as well. But we are Canada's largest geomatics related only training facility. And we've been around since just after the Second World War.
Wow. I didn't realize you were around that long. Oh, you know what?
Yeah.
I just realized something. Excuse me. Alexa, stop. I just realized there was some, I had Alexa playing music in the background.
Oh,
And
nice.
yeah, I don't know. Sometimes if the audio will pick up on something, I've done that before, and then you get into digital rights issues, right? If a recording,
Oh,
yeah. So I'll get an email from SoundCloud or something. Sorry, your audio has been rejected. Yeah. So Cogs, Cogs. I've known of. Well, I'm from Nova Scotia originally, and I'm familiar with Cogs. I've never been there, but I do love the Annapolis Valley, where Lawrencetown is, and spent many weekends there as a child.
yeah.
Beautiful part of the world. So anyone who's looking to go on for some post-grad GIS work, it is definitely a must consider. And I know you guys send a lot of your grads off to Esri and many other companies, right?
Yeah. Over the last 30 years-ish, we've had 1, 2, or 5 students almost every year go down to work at Esri Redlands. Some decide to work for software companies around the world. Others decide to work for small NGOs, provincial governments, federal governments, companies right across the country, around the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no trouble finding employment after that program, I'm sure. Yeah. And so it must be interesting in these times with the coronavirus shutdown. I'm sure you have many students there from all around the world, as you mentioned, right? So I don't know. Maybe I'm sure some of your students are concerned about their families back wherever their homes are, and it probably creates a little bit of added tension to the
Yes.
situation.
Yeah. Some have been able to stay here. Others have gone back to their homes, whether they be in Nova Scotia, the Maritimes, across Canada. I don't think anyone's left to go back to international homes, though. They're pretty much staying locally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That might be a good move. It seems like Canada has things in pretty good, I won't say under control, but I think overall things are being handled quite well
I
across the
agree.
board in Canada. Yeah,
Yeah, I agree.
yeah,
Hmm.
for sure. So from a, I find this very interesting. I wanted to talk to you because you're an instructor and you have curriculum to deliver. And I know my daughter is a freshman at University of Victoria, and
Hmm.
her year has been interrupted, and she's an athlete too. So that was that part of things really took a hit. So she was kind of devastated by the whole academic year coming almost, somewhat to an end.
Hmm.
Yeah. So how are you dealing with that with, with your program? Because there's probably another 6, 8 weeks left in the term, technically.
Yeah, our programs all go to the end of April for in-class courses, and most of them also have a practicum of some sort um, that goes through the end of May. So what we're in the process of doing is trying to figure out how to finish off the courses that would normally go till the end of April, and if possible, doing them on time. But by doing so with remote access or with online delivery and having the students at their homes rather than in the labs and classrooms where we can talk with them one-on-one. And we realize that some of that can't be done because of the limitations of the internet and software availability and the actual compute power of computers and such. So we will have to adapt certain assignments, certain projects, certain portions of some courses anyway, for particular needs of at least some of the students, maybe all of them. And we've spent the faculty has spent a lot of time this week trying to figure out some of those logistics. So some of it is we absolutely cannot do such and such a piece of a course. We have to come up with something completely different. Um, but a lot of the material is being adapted um, to get the students to continue along.
Hmm. Kind of working it out on the fly, I guess. And I,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 Well, I guess, I mean, if anything, there are going to be some good learning outcomes, come come out of all this, and that whole maybe kick in the pants to a lot of people that, okay, maybe some this needs to be included in our contingency planning, right, for the future. What
Mhm.
if we have to throw the switch and tomorrow, guess what, we're going 100% virtual. um, but I'm sure you guys will have that all in place after this. You know, academics are, you have a lot of knowledge and technology and whatnot and connections at your disposal to make it all happen. Yeah.
That we do, and we are working with a variety of vendors. We're working with a variety of pieces of software. Um, Typically, though, in our labs, which is where we host all of the software, um, we have a lot with the variety of programs: survey, remote sensing, marine geo, GIS, cartography. There's quite a number of pieces of software, and the machines that are needed to run all that are pretty beefy.
Mm.
So having exactly the same categories for students at home is awkward. We have started to look at virtualization, and we'll be able to do a little bit of that for this year, but we really don't have the time to ramp up that side of things in the few weeks that we have left in order to try to keep things as much as possible on track. Um,
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, definitely not as it's not as simple and straightforward as one might think, right? I mean, off the, at first glance, people, myself included, would think, well, I mean, most students have laptops or computers at home, but I mean, like you say, those are typically not powerful, ZBook workstations type of thing, or Students have,
That's
Chromebooks, some have Macs, and right. And so you're dealing with platform issues, and it's not just as simple as logging in and using ArcGIS Online, right? You're using probably a number of programs, right? Image processing software and
that's right.
what have you. Yeah.
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 So we are trying to get a couple of groups of students in for remote access, so they'll actually be able to use the machines that are physically in the lab from their homes. Um, and that's a new area. Once again, they have to have the right kind of machines at home to be able to host that. But yeah, back to your original question point. Many students for themselves have Macs, and a lot of this software is not Mac compatible. So we have a variety of loaners laptops that we're going to make available, and hopefully we can cover off the vast majority, if not all, of the students to allow them to be able to finish off the term.
Okay. And obviously, I guess it's probably a decision of the college that there's no access to physical access to the labs, right? So I was thinking, well, can you keep them clean and limit 2 or 3 people at a time, kind of thing.
We've wondered the same sort of thing, Glenn. It's a great possibility, but no, due to the state of emergency and due to the whole building isolation situation, we have to do this via online and remote technologies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see that, I guess.
Yeah.
For sure.
We'll have a little bit of fun in our third term because there's a lot of projects that we put out each year, and 1 or 2, sometimes 5 students working on a team. Until this year, I've always had the chance to use the full suite of software that's in our building. And exactly how we'll be able to do projects with them will be different. We've got a few weeks before we have to know that for sure. But that's another thing that we'll be working on is how do we ensure that the projects that the students do, proving that they've learned the skills and are capable with the technology, can be able to do those sorts of things in the month of May. So we'll come up with alternatives for that as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So do you know, what about social media? Are you, are you doing anything with students, or do you know if any of the classes are, have like using Facebook groups or anything like that?
Well, one of the courses that I'm going to be starting off or restarting early next week is a course in mobile GIS. And we will use a few pieces of social media as the material from which we draw material for that course, for the final part of that course. I know the students have a variety of Facebook groups for each of their programs. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, it's always good for collaboration. And I have to wonder what, now that, with everybody working from home, what the state of the internet connectivity is for most people, because that's a thing, right? I mean, you get spoiled using some beefy big fat pipe at the college or something, and now you try to do everything from your crappy connection at home that you thought you were paying extra money for the fast connection.
Well, the first 3 or 4 days of this week have been, hey, students, try ArcGIS Pro at home, given these sorts of scenarios, and see how well it works. And most of them are able to do it with it works. Sometimes it's no trouble at all. And 1 or 2 are having some troubles. One of the things that NSCC has done is opened up the Wi-Fi in our buildings a little bit stronger so that the people can go to our parking lots and get very good Wi-Fi. So that's a possibility that the few students with really poor internet might be able to sit in their cars at the parking lot and do their work. We'll see how that goes.
Right.
So we are definitely trying a number of techniques now.
That's funny. It makes me think, I drove past a Starbucks the other day, and they're all closed here, but I saw a guy in this one lone car was sitting there, and this guy had laptops, and I'm thinking, okay, he's sitting there sniffing on their Wi-Fi. That's doing his work. It made me chuckle.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, but what a great lesson too, when you think, the adversity that you face like that. That's a great assignment. Like, okay, here's a scenario. You're at home, whatever. Maybe we had a tsunami or earthquake, or who knows, right? And you need to get logged in at home, from home to ArcGIS Pro and see what you can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the assignments that we'll be finishing off with a group of students is one where it uses a variety of mobile GIS technology. And some of the students will use things like Quick Capture or Collector to be collecting some information and relaying it to an ArcGIS online group. The rest of the students will be using things like Experience Builder, Operations Dashboard, a variety of web mapping applications to read that data and present it, and do as much of that as possible real time. It's technology that's a lot of fun to use and really important for the students to see how it can work, how it can impact government companies who are doing field work. So it's a nice example for them to work through, and they get to sort of play at different aspects of it. A couple of them, like Python, will deal with some Python programming to go against the same stuff. So out of the whole group of students in the class, they each kind of get to do what they want on a larger project, and get a sense of the real world.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah, I've seen a couple of cool things come out recently that I was interested in. One was I think it was a guy. So you might know the name David Reynolds. He works with Esri now. I think he's not with Esri. He's with like Iowa DOT, I believe.
Yeah.
He's done some really good like snowplow mapping, and I think he's been charged with creating some of the web services, some really good stuff for the DOT there. And he shared this link. It was a Survey 123 form for basically crowdsourcing data so they can rank their local supermarkets, right? Because that's been a big thing lately, right? From whether, are they stocked? Are they well stocked? And, cleanliness, are people, observing social distancing rules? And I thought that was a real clever app.
Yeah, I saw that in the last couple of days ago on Twitter as well. Yeah. And it's a very nice use of the technology, nice example for people to see and get a sense of what can be done and helping out each other.
Yeah, for sure. I like the way that the results were being shared through a dashboard too, which they make it look so easy. I wish I could create a sexy dashboard like that, but it's not quite as simple as I would like it to be. But it's the dashboards sure are a great way to share the data with the public.
They are, and many of our certainly GIS related students have ample chances to use Ops Dashboard, to have a chance to delve in and learn a lot of the nuances of it, how to stack various panels and use various widgets within it.
Mhm.
And it's really a nice piece of technology.
Yeah, yeah, it sure is.
Mhm.
Hey, so maybe we're about a half hour in. Remember, I told you, so yeah. There's no way. Try to do this in 10 minutes. I know time flies. It's good to have a face-to-face chat.
Yeah, it is.
I commented on the Lego model behind you, right? And I know that space and imaging from space and whatnot is kind of I don't know, a hobby or passion of yours, right? So how's that going?
That's going pretty well. You're right. It is a combination of hobby, passion, and it turns into a great source of examples for students. For anybody who wants to try this website, isspix.com/map tour how to, and the first letter of each of those words is capital. You'll see a whole catalog of different types of maps that use pictures from space taken by astronauts and tweeted from the space station. They're all done over each map is a 3 to 6 month mission. Looks a little bit different. The same type of material is on it. And they're great examples for the students to see different ways of making maps online. And it's a great way of letting people around the world have a sense of the context of these pictures that the astronauts are tweeting and such. And yeah, towards that, behind me, in the room that I'm in, there's a Lego model of the Saturn V rocket. And my recollection is that in that there are 1,969 pieces, which just happens to be the year that rocket went to space, taking the first men to the moon.
Ah, wow.
Yeah.
That worked out well.
That was an interesting kind of number for them to use, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Good. Well, I know we follow each other on Twitter, and so people who want to see your regular updates and posts, because you share a lot of the ISS kind of images and such, you can follow Dave at Cogs, right?
That's me.
Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
Dave at Cogs, COGS.
Right.
Yeah. All right. I just did a screen grab, so that I can use for later. Yeah, that's what I'm fumbling with here.
Let's go.
All right. Well, Dave,
Yeah.
thanks a lot. I'm home all day today, so I've actually scheduled. I've got about 5 chats scheduled, so it should be a fun day.
You're a fun day for you to be
Yeah.
able to talk to people all over the place about various geo-geeky things.
Yeah, it is fun. Especially, everybody all over. Yesterday talked with Gary Gale, who's in London. So it's
Mm-hmm.
it's neat to hear the different, what's going on in different places.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're pretty much all doing the same things, what it boils down to. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. I just want to make mention, we have a number of different programs, and each of them has been very successful in being able to adapt over time. And one of them that's fairly long running is our cartography program. And a lot of people working around the world have gone through that 2-year diploma, doing really cool things. The cartography program, a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
It's a virtual program? Or...
It's virtual for the next 6 or 7 weeks, or 2 months, I guess.
Oh, okay.
but it is usually in class.
In class. Oh, okay.
Yeah. And there've been a number of people in that who've done really, really cool things for a number of different companies and organizations. So Cogs is a fascinating place to work. We meet lots of creative and dedicated students who know that they want to learn these technologies, and then they apply them really well in their careers. It's a lot of fun meeting and knowing these people.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it's fascinating for anyone listening. And like I said earlier, if you aren't familiar with cogs, or maybe you're curious, Google it. Go check out the website. You guys have a pretty vast selection of, unique selection of courses, I think. And
Mhm.
and you're in a pretty interesting part of the world.
We sure are.
Yeah, go on the map and search Lawrencetown, Nova Scotia, and it is beautiful.
Yeah,
And if you're there to visit, you can. It's not too far away to go catch the tidal bore, right?
that's not
Which
too far
is,
away. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I will mention it's
Mhm.
not Lawrencetown Beach,
Oh,
which is 2 hours away from us. We're talking Lawrencetown in the Annapolis Valley.
right. Yeah.
Sometimes people get it mixed up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's the official municipality, I guess, or is it town or city of
It's
Lawrencetown?
a municipality.
Yeah,
It's part of the municipality. Yeah. It's a village.
village. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to go fill up my coffee and get ready for another one. Dave, thanks for
Yeah.
connecting on short notice. It was good to chat.
I really enjoyed the chat, Glenn. And here's a pat for Zoe, too.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
Thanks very
Thanks.
much for the
Thanks,
call.
Dave. Yeah, you bet. Good chatting. I got to find the stop recording. And to everyone listening, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.